Hey there, so this is Frank Klesitz with Viral Marketing, and I wanted to interview Spring Bengtzen, who's a top agent in Utah that went through our recruiting project, which is a project where we meet every week for an hour in a small group, and I walk you through everything you need to know to use viral marketing, but also just like all the internet available to you and social media and video available to you to attract an audience of agents. And in this case, for Spring, and many of you that are watching this are looking to recruit for your team of brokerage, you're looking for a way to attract agents who want to come work for you where you don't necessarily have to pound out cold calls or necessarily hire a recruiter. How can you do it through marketing? And that's the course that I put together. It's a little add-on or a course service for those of you that are interested in working a little more closely with me to do this. And Spring did it. And I want to spend some time with her today, just kind of what she learned and kind of the whole course. So hi, Spring.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yep. So why did you do this? Why did you spend the money and commit to an hour a week with me? And, I asked you to start publishing training videos, Spring. I asked you to start doing training events to other agents, like to basically go out to every single agent in the MLS and say, I have the way to sell real estate. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of why you even considered doing this in the first place and your thought process.
Well, there's two components of it. So the first component is I've always ran a really small team and trained them to where every agent was doing between 30 and 40 homes. And I felt like my business was constantly in flux because I would have agents, I'd build them up and then they would leave. And so I wasn't building enough of a bench to keeping my business going as when they were leaving. The second part of it, if you probably don't remember, but you and I went to breakfast.
Yeah. In LA.
In LA, and you actually mapped out this whole thing. And I'm writing it all down. And I thought in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, Frank, love it. But yeah, right. You're boy genius. How the heck am I going to execute on this? And it sounds great. And you're telling me to get live stream cameras and all this stuff. And at the time, it just seemed so overwhelming. So when you emailed and said, hey, I'm putting together this course, I knew for my business that I needed to have a system that was sustainable for the recruiting process, or my business wasn't going to grow. So that is why I signed up.
Well, I appreciate that. But there's no lack of people out there that will show you how to recruit. I mean, Keller
True.
Williams provides that information. Every trainer probably has a recruiting class. If you can expose that, what makes this different?
Well, twofold. Like you are Frank, you've built out a phenomenal business and you're connected with everybody who's doing things at a very high level. So I trusted the fact that you knew what you were doing. Yes, I've taken career visioning. I've done all these different courses. I'm part of mastermind groups. But the difference was yours was a step-by-step that when we were done, we had an implemented plan and business model to go off of, where it feels like a normal coaching relationship as you go, just how we did for breakfast, and you get all these ideas and then you're off on your own to execute and implement. So your program was different to me because you literally every week, and then we had an action item and your team helped us execute on those action items. So it was just a completely different model than going to a class and then just saying, hey, I learned it, but now what?
Cool. So you started this. Tell me what it was like when you're in the first month of doing the assignments. Because I think right away we start with your offer letter.
Yeah.
You start with basically writing down why someone wants to join your team. I want to kind of hear, you mentioned that you really kind of changed almost as a person, or your goals of what you want out of your business. Yeah. Let's start the first month or so. What was it like doing this?
Well, the first month was really diving into and saying, okay, what type of team do I want? As well as, what is our value prop? Like, what do we offer to an agent and how can we attract them? So you helped us create that message. Since I've had it go live, I've had a lot of people reach out and just say, I love how authentic and real, and that you are just straight to the point of, this is what we're going to offer. And this is why, and the compensation. I feel like a lot of times we skirt around a lot of these things because we wanted to get them in the door, and then have a conversation where our offer letter was like really long, but it just spelled it out. And if they read it and they wanted it, more information, then we wanted to talk to them instead of trying to bring in the masses. So the first month was great. I mean, honestly, it felt like when I read the curriculum, I thought 6 months to cover this. This is crazy. We can get this done in a month.
Yeah. Everyone says that.
Yeah. But then as we got into it, it was like the perfect amount of time, perfect amount of execution. All of it seemed to really flow. So
what was one of the most difficult parts of this in the beginning?
Changing my mindset. I mean, it's really hard to think about, I'm going to go out to my local MLS and my peers and say, hey, just like you said, I'm the expert. I know how to do business. You all should listen to what I'm saying, right? So I really had to change my mindset of, really, I do know what I'm doing, which obviously I know that, well,
just tell people, how many homes have you sold last year?
Over 200.
Yeah.
And as well as just putting it out there, though. I think just putting yourself out there and saying, okay, I'm going to offer you a training course. I'm going to show you exactly how we do our business, and really just get it structured. It was a little bit of a mindset shift, but you said to me, which I think resonated with everybody, you got to remember who your audience is. You're not trying to attract the agent that's U-Spring. You're trying to attract somebody who wants to come onto your team.
Yeah, 10 deals, 15 deals. Here's this 200 deal producer.
Yeah. So remember who your audience is. And so having that mindset shift was massive for me because I've been willing to put myself out there now. So
that's good. All right. Why don't you explain the site that we put together? So here's your real estate site. How does this work?
So we have there's a massive echo right now. Can you hear that?
No echo from me.
Crazy echo when I talk. Let me take off my headset or something because all I can hear is myself.
That's okay. Yeah, so anyways, I'll show everyone this. So basically we just started a UtahRealEstateCareers.com, and the way this works is people sign up for your training newsletter, get your free training, and to watch your videos. And the goal is them to get to know you and see you as someone that can teach them how to sell real estate. Oh, just turn your speakers now down as low as you can, and only loud enough so you can just barely hear me. That way there's no reverb. All right? So from the training newsletter, we drive them to your monthly training event. And then from the training event, we drive them to a meeting. And then from a meeting, we drive them to join your team. And you did a really nice job putting all this together of all your different call to actions to come to your workshop and your mastermind videos. Pretty sweet. Now, you stepped it up because you had access to a video person and someone to take photos for you. So the reason this looks so good is that you have a video professional that helped you out, right?
Yeah.
The concepts are the same. Let's play this. Let's take a look at one of your videos. Let's see what we got. And this is the script. Was this the script that we put together in class?
Yeah, it's just the message that we wrote. I just articulated it.
Yeah, you did a very nice job.
Are you a real estate agent who wants to sell more homes and earn a more consistent income? Are you tired of wondering where your next paycheck is coming from? Do you sometimes wonder if you're even doing the right activities to be successful? Hi, I'm Bengtzen with Utah Life Real Estate Group, and if you answered yes to any of these questions, you're invited to attend our next free training to learn how our real estate business works. You'll learn how we generate 500 buyer and seller prospects every month. We closed over 200 homes in the last 12 months, and what systems we use to follow up, set appointments, sign buyer and sellers, and deliver excellent customer service that produced more than half of our transactions from referrals in the last 12 months. You'll learn exactly what technology and software, tools, apps, and
Spring, that's incredible. That's really, really nice. Well done. Really, really well done. Right? So people can go on here and sign up for your training newsletter, which is great. So you get subscribers this way. So anyways, the point is, you guys basically got you to start publishing content. Ideally, I don't know if you're doing it yet, but you're still doing your think on the course I have you do 2 educational videos a month and a monthly agent interview.
Yep.
How are you doing with your publishing of your content to get that out there so people see you?
Yeah, so I actually just barely hired a new company, and they've taken everything that we had implemented and put it on steroids. Our goal was 20 agents, but I realistically feel like we probably can get 40 agents by the end of the year.
So you want to recruit 40 agents by the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we've got it really dialed. Like you didn't just have us set up the marketing component. You took us through how to attract them. And then you had us build out our CRM, basically, like treat it as if it was a whole nother business. So we have a HubSpot account where we keep track of everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And then I have a virtual assistant that's following up with everybody consistently, which we can go over that as well. Mm-hmm. That you're having. So we're sending out the emails every day and Facebook messages every day. And then we're doing a career night twice a month because we're getting a lot of inquiries, and I don't want to spend my time in these one-off conversations. So I'm inviting them to a career night, and then we're doing a once-a-month business planning clinic. So
beautiful.
Yeah, I just feel like with our market where it's at and the influx of agents coming in, and I'm sure that's how it is across the U.S., that we really bridge that gap from the individual agent coming into the market and going to the brokerage, or they can come on our team and have our training and our systems. And so it's a no-brainer, in my opinion, that you come work on our team. So we're really putting it out there, and that's the goal, 40 agents by the end of the year. So. And
you've already hired successfully ones that you said 5 earlier?
Yeah, so since we've implemented this whole strategy, we've done 5 in the last month. So we've had some come in just from our marketing, the Utah Real Estate Mastermind marketing. We have had some come to our business planning clinic. And then we have our next business planning clinic next week. We've already have 18 of this 20 seats sold. So
nice.
Yeah, I think that we realistically, like I said, should be able to really attract at least 5 more agents a month is the goal. So
this is great. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You posted, maybe you can share with everyone here, but you posted a video on Facebook that I actually put on the website. So Spring sold out our first business planning clinic from a Facebook post. Remember this? You got the 78 likes and all these comments.
Yeah.
If you're in real estate, come to my business planning clinic. This is something we talked about in the course of one standardized event that you basically help people write a business plan. It's the kind of the lattice work to kind of help make sense of all the different ideas out there. So you went out to your audience, your warm market, and said, I'm holding this event. And I think you got 20 people pretty quickly, didn't you?
Oh, immediately. We had over 40 people sign up for it. We limited it to 20, so we moved some of them to other months, and then obviously some people don't show up. So
yeah, you're turning into a real estate leader and trainer.
That's the goal. Yeah. All because of you.
Let's play your video. Let's see what works.
Tuesday. Hey friends, happy Tuesday. I hope you are all having a great week. I wanted to invite you, if you're in real estate, I'm hosting a business planning clinic in 2 weeks on June 28th. It's going to be in the morning from 9:30 to 12:30. And it's for anybody who is in real estate but that really wants to learn how we do our business and maybe a few tips and tricks of how you can take your business to the next level. So we're going to be going over lead generation, different ways that we collect our leads, some lead follow-up, as well as buyer presentations, some different systems and technology that we use. And really it's just going to be an open book to show you how we generated over 200 sales last year, and we're on track to do over 300 this year. So June 28th, it's limited to 20 people. I have half of the room already.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. So you've seen this model before. I think what I'm showing you is nothing new. I think I'm kind of pulling it together. How many years have you been selling real estate?
15.
15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to really understand, just help me, why wait so long to do this? What was some of the real big obstacles you had to get over just to start doing some training events and to start publishing some educational videos? Because you see everyone else do it, right?
Yeah.
You see it out there.
Yeah.
Someone's sitting there going, oh my gosh, I have to do this. What do you say to that person that that you know that really wants to step up with the recruiting game, but just, cold calling agents and saying, come work for me, or just basically running a referral business where you just refer out leads to people with no accountability?
Yeah.
How did you talk to that person of what they have to overcome to be able to jump and do something like this?
Well, like I said, for me, I always had this little bit of in Keller Williams, they call it the drunk monkey of I didn't want a large team. So I really had to have some aha moments there of, like I said, my business has been in the same transactional amount for years now because I had the same model. So I knew I needed to switch that up, right? For me, it was really understanding how to create it and having the step-by-step every week action plan. You just made it so simple and broke it down so easily that it was just being able to execute that on a high level. It was genius to me. Because like you said, I know this, like I've seen it. I've had multiple conversations with you. I've been part of your private masterminds. Like I know this, but the fact that it was like every week, here's your assignment, go make it happen. What I would tell somebody is it's a complete mindset shift. Like I had to have a mindset shift of how I wanted my team structured, as well as I had to have a mindset shift that I had something to offer, because my mindset was, well, everybody's doing this, meaning everybody's doing internet lead generation. Everybody has these follow-up systems, and the reality of it is they don't. So I've had to really get out there and be like, wait a minute, I do have everything to take this business quadruple at my fingertips right now if I just execute on it. Does that make sense? So for me, it was 100% a mindset shift of saying, okay, this is really like, what you're doing. Now you just have to let everybody know that you know what you're doing and be willing to share it.
How did you pull this off while still being in the business and selling lots of real estate? How did you layer on this course to basically build what I share in the course, almost like a separate training and coaching marketing funnel business?
Yeah. So I personally, obviously we time blocked it out. We had the same time every week to meet. And then I personally made sure, like, I know what my strengths are. So I'm great at selling real estate, but I'm not great at building out a system. So I had somebody execute it for me.
Yep.
And
so you had your marketing person that came to the class with you.
Yeah. So she attended every single one of the courses. And then I also, the courses that I felt were applicable for like my director of ops to hear, whatnot, she dialed in and listened to it as well. So we executed as a team of all of our different activities. So yeah, I had to do the filming, but they built out the website or the message or the Eventbrites or whatnot. So it really, yes, it added on, but I would say that anybody who's in high production has some type of team members that really are going to probably be a better executor than they are.
So let's go through some of the course a little bit. Remember these lessons we went through? How to write your offer, the landing page, emailing your current past clients in Sphere, putting job ads up on the online job boards and Craigslist, how you drive them all to a group meeting. We went through the whole idea of positioning a one-on-one meeting with you as like a free strategy session as opposed to a recruiting appointment.
Right.
Then we went through like how to create standardized branded training events that you repeat over and over and over. We went into like the videos that you publish and the agent interviews that you do for your newsletter and putting that on the Facebook page. And finally, we talked about the outbound messaging assistant. I had to change that. Someone who sends messages out to all the agents to kind of pull them back to your content, as well as the Facebook advertising to attract them, the outbound and inbound strategy. I'm probably overwhelming anyone watching this right now. But then finally, I changed in the very last lesson is how to raise money for all this by getting some partners and sponsors involved and maybe even selling some products on the web of your materials to raise some money that way. What would you say was the most profound part of what lesson really impacted you the most of all this material and why?
Oh, geez. Probably the one about creating the system of, so for me, I had already been running Indeed ads, but I didn't have any follow-up systems or whatnot. So we were doing some of these things at a very small level. You just created the content and the guidelines to take it to that next level and really find be able to streamline it. So I think like the Indeed ads, for example, now we use HubSpot. So all of our applicants go into HubSpot. We have them categorized. Like I can pull up HubSpot right now and see who's in my pipeline of who I'm actively recruiting.
Let's show HubSpot to people, because that's not very common in real estate, but it is one heck of a marketing software.
Right.
And you have the actual, you just use the free CRM they give you?
Mm-hmm.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah, it's great. So I think that component, and then really dialing in the VAs. So, I mean, that's his full-time job, is he messages the people from Indeed. He's getting them to our events. He's messaging 50 agents a day. He's Facebook messaging them to get them to some of our events, things like that. And then I think the other most profound would probably be just building out the website and the call to actions of what's our value proposition. Well, how are we going to attract agents that are not brand new? Because that's what I was attracting before, is I would go for the new agent and train them. Mm-hmm. Now I want to attract somebody who has some experience and that I can help them double their business. Like that's I love that agent that's in the $2 to $5 million in production. I know if they come into my organization, I can help them at least double their business. So that's really my target market. So right now we're hitting the broker metrics list and really targeting those agents with coming to the business planning clinic and our Facebook marketing.
Are you still in production? Do you still go on listing appointments and work with clients?
A little bit, like not a lot. I think last week I did 3 listings, which takes not very much time. So I'd probably say I focus on real estate maybe 10 hours a week, maybe max.
So mentally or psychologically, you got to be ready to like deem yourself the real estate trainer MLS.
Yeah.
When it comes to your business of like hiring all the right people, like it obviously worked out timing well for you to be able to actually execute this and not get sucked back into the business. Like it sounds like your business world was going very smoothly, so you could execute this and focus on this. Right. Whereas someone may be, still in production 100% doing all the listings and doing this course. Could you share with someone maybe when you think is the best stage, maybe what level, if you will, or where you were at with your hires and how things were running, of why you're able to focus on this? So, because the timing was perfect for you. Why was it perfect?
Well, for me, it's because I did have the marketing person that she could take it on, and she wasn't a standard marketing person. Like she wasn't just a graphics designer. She understood at a high level of what you were teaching. So for me, I felt like it was the right timing because I had her in place. I also had just hired a director of operations. Actually, when we started the course, I had not, but I knew that I was going down that path. Like I knew by the time we were done, I needed to have somebody in place, because one of my concern was, how am I going to get all these new agents and then onboard them and make sure that they're in production and everything that I'm offering of value, that it gets executed at a high level, right? So we have a director of operations that she handles all of the onboarding and making sure that they're getting trained and in production. And then we also have a director of sales who does our actual training for the new agents coming on. He's their success manager, meeting with them once a week, doing their one-on-ones and stuff. So I just felt like I had the time to be able to really focus on, like, my one thing is recruiting. Like that's my one, if I had to say my one job is recruiting and hiring talent.
I just still want to kind of hit this more, what you just said there, because every mastermind I go to, every event I go to where it's the top of the top, it's the same thing. Recruiting, hiring, got to recruit, got to hire, got to recruit and got to hire. And then when you actually sit down with that person, you say, well, how much money are you spending on your recruiting? And it's like maybe $100 or $200 out of like a $30,000 a month ad budget, right?
Yeah.
Or how much time is invested? It's usually so little.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Be honest, how long have you said that recruiting or hiring is like going to be your focus? Was it just last year you decided that, or has that been a longer thing you'd always known about that you wanted to do?
I probably have always known about it, but I've known it was not my one thing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. However, I know that it is my one thing. Like we are dropping thousands of dollars a month on this at this point. Like we've paid for your training, but by the time I have a VA, I have an ad spend on Facebook. Like my ads are running all the time. My husband's at Inman right now, and there's a large local agent there. And he's like, your wife is killing it right now, isn't she? And he's like, yeah, she's doing great. He's like, I see her on social all the time, you know? So I know it's because he's getting targeted. But by the time I've got a marketing person to do the ads, then the Facebook spend, then the VA plus Indeed, I mean, we're a good $2,000 to $4,000 a month.
Yeah, we worked out it was about $3,300 a month for everything that you probably needed at the end.
Yeah.
To pull it off.
So that's the thing for me is I'm like, and I also know, like we all know this, that the average retention of an agent in a brokerage and a team is about 50%, you know? So we know we have to constantly be training and building that bench so that we have the people that our businesses aren't going in that flux, you know? So I 100% know recruiting is my one thing right now. So much that our market center has asked me to do the recruiting for it. Yeah. Because it's my one thing.
So go back. Yeah. When did you know it was the one thing? What was the poof? This, like, of all things, I have to focus on this.
Well, okay. So it's probably a little bit of an ego thing, but we have our annual Keller Williams Awards Gala every year. And I went to the awards gala and we have market centers. I've always been number one in the market center. But there is a number of, like, in the top 5 in the state. I've always been neck and neck with another team. And last year, they went through the roof. Like, their numbers just skyrocketed. And when we showed up to the awards gala and I saw their team, they had like 28 people. And I had 4, you know? And so it was just a massive aha to me of, if I'm going to grow, you can't do it with 4 people. Like, it just isn't going to happen, you know? And so I set out a goal at the beginning of the year. So I'm going to have 20 agents by the end of the year. And then as we've gotten in this course and I've brought on the agents and we've implemented the systems, because there's actually, after you obviously do all this, there's other systems that have to be implemented. It's made me realize that 20 agents is just as easy to have 40, you know? So that's probably my biggest thing of just knowing that if I want to grow, I have to recruit. Like, it's a bottom line. Like, we have to do that. The other component, like I said, is, I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years. I don't really want to do a lot of production. Like, I'm happy to do a house here or there. But so if I'm not going to be in production, what's my thing? You know? So for me, the recruiting is where my component of really building out this business.
How did you get comfortable with the spending of money on recruiting when the return is, like, pretty much impossible to measure directly because it's so far out of, like, I spent this money on Indeed or I spent this money on Facebook ads. How many agents did that directly attract and how much they actually sell? It's very difficult.
Yeah.
How did you get comfortable spending the money on recruiting? Because I think it's a big jump for a lot of people, because usually when you're spending money, it's like, I want that ROI as fast as possible and I want to directly track that. And if that's your mindset and you jump to recruiting, it's a little more difficult. Tell me how you made that jump.
Well, I guess for me, I don't want to cold call an agent and say, hey, how's business? Have you thought about making a change, right? So I know that I'm going to have marketing, and marketing costs money. So I just knew that I was going to have to spend the money. I also know that our goal is every agent sells a minimum of 2 houses a month. So 24 houses a year. So if I'm spending $1,000 to attract that agent, it's money well spent to me, in my opinion. Or even if it's $2,000 or $3,000, like, if that's what it's going to cost me to attract somebody who's going to ultimately sell 24 houses in a year, I'm going to spend the money, right? So I'm great with it as long as we're bringing in the talent that it makes sense. Now, obviously, if I was spending the money and we weren't bringing in the talent or it wasn't working, then I would make that adjustment. For example, we had ads running for career night on Facebook that when I looked back, frankly, we weren't, the people coming to the career night were not coming because of the Facebook ads. They were coming.
I didn't cover career night Facebook ads in the course, did I?
Probably not. So no. I cut it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is a complete waste of money, you know? So I'm watching it. I'm watching what my cost per click is. And I'm watching, like, we had one, you had us do a lead form ad. Well, the lead form ad was actually really expensive. However, I hired one agent off of it. So I'm like, hey, well, that was worth that amount of money. So I'm justifying it in the sense I'm hiring people, they're getting into production, and I just know it's a cost of doing business.
Yeah, those lead ads can get expensive. I think I was showing other agents like it was about $60 or something.
Mine was $51. Yeah.
Yeah, but to get somebody that puts their full contact information in.
Yeah.
I mean, how much do you pay for a seller lead?
Right. Exactly. A lot.
$200-$300 more than
Yeah.
that.
As the low lead right now for me, we're $150. So yeah. One thing that you also covered in the course that was great is we found a sponsor. So I actually have a local vendor.
All about this, because I just have to say to anyone watching this, you should zero cost. Anyone watching this should be able to zero cost. All this should never come out of their pocket, because there are so many other businesses like Viral that would like to piggyback with someone that is the front person of the agent being successful, that wants access to your audience that you built through this. So tell us about this.
Yeah. So the first business planning clinic, I just approached somebody and said, hey, do you want to provide our lunch? They came, they were like, this is great, Spring. How can we help you in the future? So my director of ops set up a meeting, and they said, hey, we would love to sponsor and pay for all of your events and whatever costs. So like all of our manuals, the print, all of the setup, we're going to take it off site so that we're not doing it in the market center, because I don't want it to be all about people not feeling comfortable coming because of the whole brokerage, different companies, you know? So yeah, they wrote us a check, and they're going to cover it for the year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
Thanks for your talent. Because you did suggest that. Get a yearly sponsor.
Yeah, annual sponsor. I recommended maybe just 2, because I think we added up like, you know, you had the cost of broker metrics, you had the cost to be a part-time $10 an hour assistant, you had the cost of you know, renting a room for the training events. There's all these little things that add up, and it ended up being like $3,000 or 30 to 40 grand a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it'd be certainly nice if you found one company just to pay it annually to be involved in everything, or maybe 2 to pay half and half.
Yeah.
That's great. Have you thought of selling any product on your website yet?
Not yet, but yes.
Oh, so close.
I am close, and I do have it as one of my things of how am I going to monetize this? I mean, we've only been doing it for a month, so I have some things I need to streamline. But yeah, I feel like we have a really great product that we definitely are going to monetize it in some capacity.
Good. Yeah. This is great, Spring. Well, let me ask this question a little differently. You've been in the coaching and training space, and you pretty much know all the players out there that have a model of how to be able to help someone achieve something. And what's very unique about what I put together with Viral is we're still just an advertising agency that does the marketing for you.
Right.
We're not really a coaching firm, more or less. You know, I've never sold a house, so I have no credibility.
But you built a business.
I built a business, but my job is to have to actually execute the marketing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create, like, basically, I would call what you did almost like premium account management. You just worked you worked with your account manager at our agency in a more structured way to help execute the marketing.
Right.
Can you maybe articulate for the audience of this project and the way that I have it modeled with the small group meeting and the weekly call with John, the execution? Maybe I already just said it, but how is that different than what else is out there? What makes this unique?
Yeah. So for me, what made it unique was how you had it set up. So it was very small group. There was maybe 10 of us. So there was it was interaction like this, like you and I talked like this every week. It was step by step. This is what we're executing this week. I want it done by next week. So that high accountability, and this is how you're going to do it. Right? Where every other training is like, this is what you should do, go make it happen. So you 100% were like, hey, now for me, like I said, I had the person to help execute, but you guys have your people at Viral, right? Yeah. So somebody could say, hey, Frank, yeah, I don't have the budget to have an Amber like Spring did. They don't need it. They just needed you, right? Your whole team did it. So it's the same as being a Viral client for your 33 touch or your twice a month emails. The agent has to do the work in the sense of filming the videos and putting themselves out there. but viral is going to do the back end of it to help you create it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for me, it was just great that it was like, I'm going to show you step by step by step and execute it. I don't think an agent should go into it as a solo. Like, they need to have hired you guys to execute on the back end, or have their marketing person. Like, it was just like, hey, Spring's taking the course.
Yeah, you're one of the few lucky people that has a great marketing person, which is a very difficult role to find.
Yes, I agree. But they have you. Like, this is what you guys did. Like, you guys built websites for everybody. You created the call to actions. You were the one who wrote all the text. It wasn't us, right? So, I mean, the foundation, you built the foundation. You also gave the resources of your VA.
Yeah, here's an example of so if you have your website that was designed in your way,
right?
This is kind of for anyone watching, a pretty standard recruiting website. Get people to, so here's the funnel: get people to subscribe to your newsletter, your Facebook group, your page, engage with your content, get them to your real estate workshop. We help write a business plan, get them to a one-on-one call after the workshop, and get them to join your team.
Yeah.
Just like that.
So, I mean, the difference is I've actually referred a lot of people, referred a few in Utah, which I'm like not loving just because it's in my backyard, but they've reached out. I mean, all my real estate coaches have been like, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You are my one client that has a full recruiting system built out, and they're all asking if they can share it. So I just think that if you're wanting a system, because we systemize everything else, right? We systemize our lead gen, we systemize our transaction management. You really should have a systematic recruiting instead of just hoping that they come in off a few Indeed ads and cold calling, So this really just built that out for me.
Spring, I really appreciate this interview. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next for you? How are you going to build on what I taught you? What can I expect to see from you?
So I am going to build out a couple different businesses, actually. So what's next is building out the team. I'm going to build out some auxiliary businesses that I have working, and I'm going to spend some time with my family. So I just have a lot of fun, cool things that are in the mix.
We talk about that in the course. You're building this audience of agents.
Yeah.
And then you can put whatever offers you want in front of them. One's joined the team, but they can be other things too.
Yeah.
That's
and it's fun. It's really rewarding, Frank, because it's like we spend all this money going to training and meeting with people like yourself. And it's really rewarding to be able to help other agents in your market as well to succeed. So it's been fulfilling on that aspect of having some higher level conversations too.
Awesome. What's the link to your website again, in case anyone didn't get it? Do you want to check it out?
It's utahrealestatecareers.com.
Perfect. Spring, thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy your day.